Revenge films.
This happened about 10 years ago. That's when that tragic incident occurred. I just happened to be there that day, and that incident is always on my mind. Sometimes I get flashbacks of that time, and it really gets me down. This is what happened. It was when I was in the 3rd year of university, and summer vacation was just around the corner. Hey, Ori! If you're free during the summer vacation, you want to come over and work part-time again? I got that call from a friend who was 3 years my senior. He got married to a local girl right after graduation. He worked at his father-in-law's factory, and in summer, the factory got pretty busy. Every year during that time, he would call and offer me a part-time job. The pay was pretty decent, and he would treat me to dinner, so how could I refuse? He was working at the factory, and also living with his wife's family. While I was working there, I had a chance to meet his wife a few times when she visited the factory. She's pretty in a sort of natural way, and looks the part of a company owner's daughter. She seemed quiet and intelligent. She seemed completely different from my friend, who was a lot more flashy and outgoing. Actually, that contrast seemed to fit them perfectly. She did have a younger brother who was younger than me. However, he never showed his face at the factory and did not hear anything good about the guy. When the younger brother was in junior high, he was going out with this girl who was a senior in high school. But it turned out that this girl was two-timing him. Apparently, this guy was a well-known leader of some local gang. One thing led to another, and the two-timing affair came to light. As a result, the younger brother was beaten to a pulp. So badly, in fact, that he landed in the hospital. After that, he was always looking over his shoulder, and even afraid to walk outdoors. And then he became a so-called hikikomori, or recluse. That's when the incident occurred. After work, my friend took me out to dinner. Later, at around 2100 hours, I arrived home. At 2200 hours, I was fast asleep. Then at 2300 hours, my mobile phone started to ring. The call was from my friend. I was wondering what it was all about when he simply said, "Come over here and stop me!" Couldn't figure out what the hell he was talking about, to be honest. And with that, I hung up. What the hell was that about? I headed toward their house, which was directly adjacent to the factory, where I usually worked. When I got there were a bunch of people standing around, some in PJs. It seemed serious, so nobody had gotten too close to whatever was happening. I sent a message to my friend informing him that I arrived, and then headed into the house. Then, "I'm sorry! Please forgive me!" I saw my friend's younger brother-in-law sitting there half naked and bashed up pretty badly, crying his eyes out. My friend was standing over him, saying with an angry expression, "I'll never forgive you! You're finished!" Right next to him stood his father-in-law, with an equally furious expression on his face. Then over in the corner, I could see my friend's wife sitting there with a towel around her shoulder, seemingly half naked. And next to her sat her mother, apologizing to her profusely.
"I'm so sorry. So sorry."
All I could manage was, "Hey, what's up?" Our eyes met, but he didn't seem to recognize me, and just stared fiercely at the younger kid. He proceeded to kick the younger kid as he lay on the ground. "Please stop!" he said pleadingly, but in response, "Yeah! Yeah!" My friend just continued to kick him. Is this what he meant by, "Come over and stop me"? With that thought, I carefully approached my friend. "Hey, bud, please! That's enough!" I tried to stop him and held onto his arm. But my friend pushed my arm away and slammed me to the ground, where I hit my head pretty hard. The father suddenly came to his senses and came toward me. "Oh no! You okay, Ori? With that, my friend finally came to his senses. Oh, you're here. Sorry about that. Didn't you notice me? Our eyes met, right? It seems my friend was so worked up that he didn't even notice I was there. Luckily, I've got a head like a steel helmet. When I hit the wall, I actually put a hole in it. So I kind of feel bad about that. As everyone seems to have calmed down, the ambulance and police arrived on the scene. I eventually left after it all calmed down. A few days later, my friend and his father-in-law came over to apologize. Man, I'm so sorry to call you over so suddenly, and on top of that, for getting you hurt. They proceeded to tell me the whole story. It appeared that the younger brother attacked his sister. It had all apparently began in elementary school, when the younger brother broke up with that older girl. After getting beaten to a bloody pulp by that gang leader, he became such a scaredy cat and couldn't even go to school. He was so enamored by the love for that older girl that he couldn't bear it any longer. As a result, he attacked his older sister. At first, the sister fought back fiercely, but the younger brother had studied judo as a kid and was no pushover. When being held down by such strength, that woman couldn't thwart his advances. This continued for some time. His sister no longer had the will to resist, and the younger brother did what he pleased. If she was so appalled by it, why didn't she just talk to her parents about it? Apparently, she was threatened. You tell our parents and you'll be beaten even more! Got that? That's why she was unable to say anything. But with the arrival of the White Knight in the form of her new husband, the younger brother was no longer able to continue his wicked ways, and the newlyweds were safe from harm. It seemed that since they were so happy now, she would just let bygones be bygones. But the brother couldn't resist, and reverted to his old ways. What's weird is that this all happened in the home while everyone was there. On that day, apparently, they were all home. The father and son were at the dinner table enjoying a beer. The mother had finished the kitchen chores and was relaxing and watching TV, and she kinda just dozed off.
I'm going to bed.
She then headed up to her bedroom. It seems there, the younger brother snuck in and attacked her. This was presumed the first time it happened since the two were married. She thought that if she continued to look the other way and not say anything, it would hurt her husband in the long run. So when he attacked, she let out a blood-curdling scream.
Help!
The younger kid was taken aback, and he grabbed his clothes and rushed out of the room. But when the lights in the room went on, standing there were my friend and his father-in-law, glaring menacingly at the younger brother. What the hell do you think you're doing? The father-in-law was the first to raise his fists. Before proceeding any further, my friend messaged me, and with the father by his side, he started to pummel the kid with his fists. It was then that my friend grabbed the kid's exposed family jewels and squeezed them like ripe plums. Ugh. He let out a blood-curdling scream and fell to the ground, and he promptly passed out. I immediately gasped upon hearing that. Instinctively, I put my hands protectively around my private parts. I was horrified, and I couldn't bear to hear it any longer. Was your brother okay after that? The father-in-law spoke up with conviction. I don't care what happens to a guy like that. A guy who would attack his own sister. Disgusting. I can imagine the outcome after such a pathetic incident. The brother, of course, repented. The police showed up, but the father explained that it was simply a family matter, and no charges were pressed. His sister was just hoping that if she'd stay away from him, everything would be fine. She said all she wants to do is forget the whole sordid affair, for good. She says she doesn't want to hear or speak of it any longer. Yeah, I could understand her side. I mean, having to go through all the legal hassles and so forth. All the unsavory details would be exposed to the public, and the process would just go on forever. How could she even attempt to forget it all? I feel sorry for her. My friend just looked down and seemed so sad. After that, the younger brother was sent away to live with a far-off relative. Please, I'll never do it again! Please let me stay here! Please, I don't want to go to that place! He pleaded with his parents to no avail,
Don't ever show your face here again.
With that, the father kicked him out of the house. It turns out that this far-off relative was none other than a Yakuza. So he gets his gonads squished and taken away by Yakuza. Boy, that's what you call ruining your life. It's been 10 years since that incident, and the brother is still at that relative's home. My friend and his wife had a second child, and the 6 of them are leading a happy family life. Me? I'm still single. Sometimes this incident crosses my mind and my private parts ache as if they're being squeezed like plums. Ugh.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.